Hey friends, I'm here tonight to help break down how I go about playing James McMurtry's great song, No More Buffalo. I've been learning a lot from how James did all this stuff on his streams during the pandemic, as well as from the original studio recording. And so I'd like to show you the main sections of the tune and how you can put them together. And I also have a performance of the entire tune. There's a link to that in the description below. So let's just jump right in. First of all, the guitar tuning with McMurtry songs is always critical. This is your favorite double drop D. So it's D, A, D, G, B, and D. So you take these two strings and that are normally E, just drop them down one step to D. There's another link in the description below to my little how-to on how James typically uses this tuning. Okay, now there are three main sections to the song, but there's also that little intro noodle that I was just starting with here. So I'm going to start with that, and I'll cover the main three sections, kind of show how they join together, and then hopefully if you check out the whole full performance, you can see how it all works. So let's start with the little intro noodle here. You're in the 7th position, so your first finger's on the 7th fret, and you're going to be using, it's pretty simple in this nice tuning, so you're just moving 2 frets at a time here. And he just goes, and the last thing, a little flourish he does once he does that little bit is hits these 3 harmonics on the 7th fret. So all together it's, and then he starts into the main thing. Okay, the main phrase, this phrase that I'm going to do next is, it comes back in many guises during the song. After that little intro noodle, he then plays this 2 times through, and then it forms half, basically, of the verse chording. So I'll go ahead and play this phrase one time, we'll get that under our belt, then I'll move on and combine it with the parts that he combines it with to make the whole full verse. Then we'll get that whole verse thing out of the way before we move on to the chorus. All right, so this main phrase is just the iconic one the song opens with. All right, so in this tuning, double drop D, that shape is a G chord. So what you're doing is putting these 2 fingers, I use the 2nd and 3rd because I know I'm going to use my index finger as I climb down the neck here. So 2nd and 3rd finger on the 5th fret of these 2 lowest strings. And then I drop that index finger down, 4th fret on the lowest string. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to jump to this. It's kind of like an A chord, but with all kinds of jangle in this tuning. So what you're going to want to do is try to mute some of these strings while you're hitting that A chord. What I try to do is hit, see if I can get the camera going here. There we go. Just those 3 strings. And you can kind of deaden the lowest one with your thumb if you want to hang it over the top like this. And you just kind of lean your hand over a little bit to try to deaden some of those. It's not terrible, and like I say, that jangle, if it does creep in, it sounds kind of good. All right, so let's do that. And the last thing on this little phrase is that little flourish he does that. So this is it's kind of like a hammer situation with your right hand. So what I'm doing is leaving this finger here on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and I'm letting that open G string ring, and then I'm hammering down with my 3rd finger here onto the 4th fret of the D string. So just kind of roll with it for a while, and it took me a little while to kind of get the groove. You can do it too. that's that first phrase. Now, he uses that same first phrase for the kind of the first half of the main verse structure, and then he jumps into a B minor shape. So let me go ahead and play through the whole verse, and let me grab the words here too, so I can actually sing it. So let's see how this sounds, and then we'll come back and break it down. Guess we knew the cards were stacked. Started out the best of friends. We'll beat that highway until it quit beating back. Didn't mean much in the end. Okay, so that's the first half of the first verse, and it's that same thing we just did in kind of, you know, as he leads into starting to sing. So we just do that 2 times through. And then the second half of the verse structure is this B, starts in this B minor shape. Goes to that same A shape, the same G shape, back to that home D. So it's second time through, he just stops on the G. Okay, so this is like this is the nut of the problem right here. If you can get this whole verse thing down, that's the hard part. All right, so he's doing that same verse, the same phrase to start with. Does that twice, and then that's this minor phrase starts with the B minor, the A, the G. The first time through. The second time through, he stops on the A. Excuse me, on the G. Looking out through the bugs on the windshield, somebody said to me. Now on that somebody said to me, that last line of each verse, he's reprising a part of that main phrase we started with, and namely it's starting with on the G shape here and ending on the A. Alright, I'm just going to play through that verse chord structure with no singing. And now we're ready to take the last section, which is the chorus. No more buffalo, blue skies are open road. No more rodeo, no more noise. Take my Cadillac, park it out in back. Mama's calling, put away the toys. You already know all this. If you've done everything up to now, it's just bringing back the right parts here. So it's that same G shape. No more buffalo, back to the main D. Back to the G, blue skies to the A, open road. And then there's this thing we've been using again and again. No so the last line of the chorus, instead of leaving it hanging on that A, you bring it back home and resolve it with the D. Let's do that one more time. First time's on the A. Bringing it back to the D. All right, so to recap, we've started with a little intro noodle. We spent a fair amount of time on that major phrase, phrase 1 I'm calling it, that then is half of each of the verses. We worked through how that connects to the minor chord section of the verses, and that's the repeat you get for each of the verse phrases, each of the verse structures. And then we worked that into the chorus, how he moves into the chorus, no more buffalo. Very similar chords, just like James's signature move. Uses very subtle changes in the left hand, but with his right hand just turns every song into its own unique thing. So I hope that this breakdown has been helpful to you. Love to hear your comments and suggestions for other things you'd like to see me break down if I can. And thanks for listening.